Hey everybody, Cynthia here in my quilt lab, and today I'm doing a quick tutorial on the Drunkard's Path block. For those of you that are following along with me with the Illusions Sampler block of the month, you'll notice that in month 3 and 4 there are Drunkard's Path blocks. Now in the pattern, Scott's having us do an applique version of the Drunkard's Path. Basically, he has a square just like that, and then we're appliquing that concave piece on top of that square. It makes it really easy to stitch down, and you don't have to worry about doing a curved piecing. But for those of you that want to practice your curved piecing, that's what this tutorial is all about. Just want to give a quick tip of how to tell these two pieces apart, concave versus convex. You'll notice that the concave piece actually sort of makes that C, concave, like the cave, the mouth of a cave. And if you turn this upside down, there's our V. So concave and convex. Just a quick tip to help you figure out which name goes with which piece. Let's move on and dig in to this Drunkard's Path. So what I've done here is I've traced a piece of paper onto the template, and then I transferred it to just a couple pieces of cardboard. Now you can also use that plastic vinyl and make a template that way, or if you want to use freezer paper as a version, that works too. Whatever works for you is what I want you to do. Keep it easy, keep it simple. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut a couple of pieces of both the concave and the convex, and we're going to do two different ways of piecing this together using your sewing machine. Let me get to cutting. So be careful that you don't cut through your template, whether you're using paper or the acrylic or whatever. I like to recommend that you get out a smaller rotary blade because it fits better in those curved areas than your bigger one does. And I'm going to cut these out. We're going to zoom through and talk about piecing. So there's two pieces of the concave. Let's cut the convex. All right, so there's the two pieces. And I'm doing two because I'm going to do one the way the instructions, and then I'm going to do a different version of a way that I prefer to piece. So in the instructions, it has you take one of the convex and the concave pieces and has you fold it in half and make a crease. And that's going to show the center. So let me do them on both sides here. There we go. So you can see that that's the center point. And it has you do this because that's where you're going to line things up. If you put this right on top, you'll see there's that crease line. The instructions have you use 3 pens, one at that middle crease line that we just did, and then one at each of the corners. Okay, so I've done the 3 pens, one in the center and the 2 sides. So what you're going to do is when you take this to the machine is, let's pretend that's the stitch line. Stick it underneath your foot, do a couple of stitches, and with your needle dropped, take that first pin out, and then start using your fingers to keep everything matched up as you go around that curve. It takes a little practice, I'm not going to lie, so use some scraps like I'm doing here to give it a try. Also, if you have a slower version on your machine, like if it has one of those switches that goes at a slower speed, you will want to slow down when you're doing a curve. I do want to point out that that is on the bias, so it does give you a little play, so you can stretch it out a little bit. Don't be afraid to pull the fabric a little bit. And just as with any new skill, just takes a little practice. So give it a try. And let me show you the way I like to piece curves. Okay, so this is the way I like to do curves. I'm a big fan of using some type of temporary adhesive to do my curves. Right now I'm using a Fons and Porter, and it's just a little glue stick. The glue stick is about 1/4 of an inch wide, which is really nice because it mimics that 1/4 of an inch seam you're going to be making. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this glue and I'm going to run it along the edge of one of these pieces. It doesn't matter which one you do. I'm just going to do the convex piece. There we go. And just like before, give a little crease so I know where the center is. Give a little crease here so I know where the center is. And I'm going to line those up at the center. Give it a little press with your finger so that glue really sticks to it. Do the same thing for the sides. And then just make sure everything lines up like that. And the other side. And there you go. So that is temporary adhered all along the edge. So it takes a little bit more prep time to do the glue than it does the pins because you're doing the entire edge holding it down. But let me tell you, that's so nice taking it to the machine, not having to worry about taking pins out as you're sewing along, not having to worry about sticking yourself or, you know, having to fuss with the fabric, because once I have that nice and pressed down, it's ready to go. So let me show you what they look like when you're finished sewing them. So here's the one that I used with glue, and here's the one that I used with pens. You can see they both look just as nice. They're supposed to measure about 4.5, and yeah, I need to square them up just a smidgen, but otherwise that's good to go. I like to press out towards like going into the cave. That's just me. There are times though when you want to press the other way. I will tell you though that using the glue, because that's adhered, and even though that'll wash out when you finally wash your quilt, you can only press one way. It has to go out or it has to go in. The other one, you can totally press open if you want to. And I know there are a lot of people out there that like to press their curves open just because of the bulkiness. It's up to you. No quilt police here. I say press the way that works for you.
And that's the Drunkard's Path Block. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button below. If you'd like to see other block tutorials, let me know in the comments below. I read them all and I want to help you out. Don't forget to hit subscribe to see all the future videos I'll be making. And thanks for joining me today in my quilt lab. I'll see you next time.